Imagine yourself in a dark, damp cave, surrounded by a mass of extremely short and broad-framed men with long flat heads and large faces. They have a massive brow ridge and extremely round chin, and most of them are armed with roughly cut stone weapons and tools. Can you tell where you are? This is the resting place of a tribe of Homo erectus. Well, hello, my name is Samarth Kelkar, and today I'll be exploring the possible pros and cons of a world where we still hadn't evolved from our ancestors, the Homo erectus. The Homo erectus were very lightweight. You may be pretty surprised by the fact that even though they were our direct ancestors, the weight of an average Homo erectus was only between 40 to 68 kilograms. By now you must be thinking, oh wow, they must be so fit and feel so agile. I wish I was one of them. But surprisingly, their average height was only from 146 to 185 centimeters. Now I bet your opinion has changed. The Homo erectus had stockier bodies than us. There actually used to be a previous theory saying that the Homo erectus were lean, athletic, long-distance runners, which was recently proven partially wrong. You see, the Homo erectus skeleton was found quite a long time ago, but you have to admit, it would be pretty hard to find out their body structure only from a jumble of broken and damaged bone from their rib cage. But now, in an era full of cutting-edge technology, scientists were able to make an AI reconstruction of a Homo erectus rib cage, which showed how much broader it was compared to humans. It's now thought that they adapted to having this feature for some of their more laborious activities, like hunting, which required a lot of fast running for long distances, and consequently more endurance and stamina. This excessive amount of physical activity was also why they had much stronger and therefore thicker bones than us. This would mean a smaller chance of getting fractures and a major loss for the medical industry today. As in 2022, they generated a revenue of $12 billion only through rib fractures, which are far less common than the usual popular leg fractures and arm fractures. That's a lot, right? The Homo erectus were much more primitive to us and were the first Homo species to walk upright. Therefore, their tools were much more basic than ours. They were called Acheulean stone tools and consisted of things such as cleavers and a double-sided hand axes roughly carved out of stone. They used them to cut wood and butcher their meats before eating or using them. This shows that they did all of their work manually, clearly telling us that even if they had become a bit more superior by gaining knowledge all the way till today, the progress would have immensely slowed down due to them having to do work manually, which would result in a much lesser technologically advanced world today. But on the other hand, would leave us with much more forest, nature, and natural resources overall. Would you like this type of world? This brings us to our next point, the exploitation of natural resources. We humans have a lot of natural resources which could help us live long, happy lives, but we're overusing them, meaning that we're using more than we need to, polluting and destroying the rest of it. And in turn, we're disrupting entire ecosystems to get what we want. Because of this, we end up killing 100 million marine animals, including birds, each year, and forget about the load full of land animals too. A few causes for this are overhunting, pollution, habitat loss, logging, and the introduction of new species. This has endangered and caused the extinction of many species, such as the dodo, because of overhunting and the introduction of a new species of pigs, monkeys, and cats. Stellar sea cow, which was overhunted for its fur and oil. The St. Helena olive tree, whose extinction was caused by the logging and new plantations of another species. And many more, which we don't have enough time to cover. The Homo erectus' decreased capability to create more advanced tools was also a result of them having a thicker skull and a smaller brain than us. Also, Homo erectus lived in multiple hunter-gatherer societies or tribes. This had its own pros and cons. For example, it was a very efficient way of living and usually produced lesser waste, but on the other hand, could only support smaller societies and would keep them less in touch with the others. This would also happen because even though Homo erectus originated in Africa, they spread out all through it and Eurasia, which is a very large area of land. Consequently, any discoveries that separate societies made could not be shared with the others, which would also result in much lesser interconnectedness than we have today and a much less advanced and up-to-date world as a whole. Just imagine a world without paper and printing. They came from China. That would be highly inefficient. The Homo erectus were also nomads, meaning that they moved from place to place while hunting and gathering in search of more resources. Because of this, they would have to go through one major problem: food shortages. Since they were much more primitive to us, they didn't have things such as the weather forecast. And as mentioned before, they were nomads, so they couldn't exactly tell when they were running into harsh weather. That's why they would be running into food shortages when there was a very scarce amount of prey to hunt, or when it was too dangerous, both due to bad weather or the winter season. Moving on, another thing we must now turn to is their diet. The Homo erectus diet is widely debated. Some scientists think that the diet consisted mainly of meat, while others think that plants' roots and tubers made up a significant amount of the diet too. This type of diet, along with loads of physical activity, would also have a good side. They would keep us in shape and away from any junk food and sweets that they could have invented by then. They also made a major breakthrough for their species, something that we still also use: fire. The earliest remains of campfires date back to the reign of the Homo erectus. It's thought that the campfires weren't only to cook food, but also for conversation spaces, warmth, and to keep them all safe from large predators such as cave lions, cave bears, short-faced bears, dire wolves, and many more. Their loss of interconnectedness would also be due to a terribly underdeveloped overwater exploration and neophobia, meaning that we would be overcautious of wandering far from our own explored and known territories. This would also keep Europe from colonizing the rest of the world, which can give us endless possibilities of how those nations would be today. That's also why the Homo erectus could only feel and react to their immediate surroundings. Whereas nowadays, we can even look at what's going on in other nations via the internet or phone calls. But this also has a bad side, as today machines are replacing loads of human jobs, providing us with an unhealthily secluded lifestyle where we're lacking interaction with others, and is leading to people becoming huge couch potatoes, which could result in them becoming obese and in turn could cause a variety of problems, including diabetes, stroke, heart diseases, and high blood pressure. But there is another thing to keep in mind as well, that if we never evolved from the Homo erectus, then today we wouldn't be facing all these health problems. In conclusion, a world where we still hadn't evolved from the Homo erectus would and could be something so very different from the one we have today. All you nature lovers out there might not agree with me, but all I can say is that such a world would be a hint too underdeveloped for my liking. And I am very happy to be in such an advanced and comfortable world. And here's a couple of questions for you to ponder on. How do you think a world where we never evolved from the Homo erectus look like? And how much better Or worse will it be compared to today's world? Be sure to think about these, and thank you for watching.